Hello my friends and welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from Dadex, and today we're going to take the Raven out for a spin. We're going to do another level 4 mission today. It's Worlds Collide. Last time we saw the Raven it was this kind of a fit, very traditional fit, cruise missiles, active tank, lots of capacitor, kind of an equivalent of the Dominics we looked at in the last video, in that when I first got this fit, again just from public resources, there was more capacitor down here. As you get more confident, you just reduce the capacitor and up the DPS. Same principle as the Dominics really. But anyway, we're not going to use this fit at all today. We're going to exit the simulation. Today we're going to go with rapid heavy missile launchers. They're going to hit out to almost 60 kilometers with the Scourge heavy missiles and about 44 kilometers I think it is with the Rage. In the mid slots we've got 3 large shield extenders 2s, which as you can see need repairing, as we'll see in the footage. We've got 2 multi-spectrum shield hardener 2s, we've got a target painter, we've got an enduring afterburner, and down in the bottom slots I've still got the 3 ballistic control system 2s. I have put on 2 restrained shield power relays to up the shield recharge. It does reduce the capacitor recharge rate, but we're focusing on the tank. And for the rigs we've got 1 large capacitor control circuit, and that's going to mitigate a little bit the reduction in the capacitor recharge from these guys down here. And then we've got 1 shield extender and we've got 1 thermal shield reinforcer. So if we simulate this fit, we've got about 117,000 EHP. We've got 66% thermal resistance, 69% kinetic resistance in our shield, and that's the damage we're going to be taking. And then when it comes to damage, we've got just shy of 780 DPS with the regular Scourge heavy missiles and some drones, which we'll look at in a second. And if we reload with the Rage ammo, as you can see we're over 1000 DPS, 1005 DPS. The range does cut to 44 kilometers. So the difference between this and the cruise missile fit is we've got much more DPS. But we've got to get much closer to apply it, and getting closer, as we know, involves taking more damage. At 340 million, it's a cheaper option than the Dominics, but the Dominics, any drone ship is more expensive when you put the drones in it, because they are much more expensive than missiles. So that's why it looks a bit cheaper. They're really equivalent fits, but this one is a getting closer, do more damage, kill stuff quicker, and take more damage. But that's the balance. You're killing them quick enough to offset the extra damage they could do to you. That's the plan. One thing of note on this fit is we haven't got a huge amount of capacitor really. Well, it's 22 minutes. It's quite a lot, but this is quite a big mission that we're going to be running Worlds Collide. So we'll see. We've only got these 2 hardeners really to worry about, and we'll keep the afterburner running. So we're not cap stable, but I really don't think we need to be. Drone wise, I've got 5 Vesper 2s and 5 Hornet 2s. They're doing the right kind of damage. They're only really there to take out the frigates. Remember, they're unbonused. I mean, maybe you could just take a load of light drones if you're worried about losing any. But I've got 5 mediums, 5 lights. We'll see how they get on. Now here in the first room you can see we're about 130k off 2 groups and 2 gates. One of Serpentis and one of Guristas. Today we're going to go and pay the Guristas a visit. So we're going to start heading over this way, locking them up until we get into our missile range, which is about 60 kilometers with the regular Scourge missiles, which is what we're going to start shooting with. We might reload to Rage if we just get to a stage where we've got a reload coming up and there's just the battleships left on grid. A top tip, if you've got rapid missile launchers, whether light or heavy, I suggest you switch off auto reload. I don't anymore, but when I was first using them I often used to get caught out by missing the reload when I really wanted to change ammo type. And once you've reloaded, you're not going to want to reload again, because as we know, the one downside, if it is a downside of the rapid missile launchers, is the excruciatingly long reload time. So anyway, we're just about getting in close enough to start queuing up these guys. We get to the gate first, which is handy because we don't have to get back to it. This whole mission would be a good one, to be honest, to run with a micro jump drive. Because you land about 130 kilometers off that gate that I'm just going past now, you could micro jump drive within 30 of that, put you probably within contact range of these rats here, especially if you've got a longer range weapon system. And then as we'll see in the next 2 rooms, it's the opposite. In the second room, the rats are going to spawn all around us, and in the third room, we're going to land right in amongst the rats. So we want to pull range. Now we're going to do that today with the Afterburner, obviously, but a 100-kilometer jump with your jump drive would be perfect if you could turn around and hit them with your Sentry drones or your cruise missiles. So that's another way of approaching these missions. And I do like that, you know, you're just open to do it as you want, whether it's the most efficient way or the most interesting way for you as a pilot. Another reason I wanted to use this fit in the video is really to illustrate the point that when you first get to doing level 4 missions, rapid heavy missile launchers don't need any additional skills to heavy missile launchers, which you're probably going to have that trained up quite well already because you've been using them on your Drake if you come down the Caldari route. So it saves you having to wait to train up your new battleship weapons, whether it's cruise missiles, torpedoes, whatever. You can get out there and actually start running some missions pretty effectively. You just have to be prepared to run it and be prepared to take a little bit of a battering, which we're going to do, especially in the second room. If we need to run away and rep up, there's a station right here to do that. I'm not afraid of doing that, especially when you're using a weapon system like this, where we're not using the mightiest, most expensive tank, but we've still got to get in quite close, or we're going to be landed quite close by the actual mission itself. Now, as usual, this footage is sped up. It's currently at 2.5 times speed because this is a long mission. Although, as you can see, even bearing that in mind, we are eating our way through these enemy battleships very quickly once we get in range with the rage missiles, which I did reload to. On this mission, in this fit, you want to go into the second and third room with rage missiles fully loaded because the rats are going to be right around you, as I said. But now we'll just burn down this last one. You can, at the end of the mission, in effect, when you've got the loot, you can then go through another acceleration gate that will bring you back here. So if you wanted to go through the other side, you can just come back and go through and kill the other team. If you want to be completionist and maximise your bounties, your loot and your salvage, I'm just going to go down one path, finish the mission and go home and have a cup of tea today. Now, I've completely ignored the other group and they've completely ignored me, and that will stay the case. I assume if you shoot at them, they will come after you. But if you just want to clear one group and get the mission done as quickly as possible, get through the gate, just ignore the other group completely. That's why it's quite important when you land on grid to do the visual look around to make sure you know how the rats on your overview relate to the groups, especially if they're at similar ranges, as they are in this mission at the beginning. So just work out which rats on your overview are by which gate, and then only lock up the rats, assuming you can lock them from that far away anyway. They're actually guarding the gate you want to go through. Before I go through the gate, you can linger. I'm reloading my missiles. I will remember to. I better remember to. And you can just hang around, let your cap recharge a little bit. Running the Hardeners and running the Afterburner will wear through your cap eventually. We're not, as I said, we're not cap stable, but that never becomes a concern. I'm not sure how it would work with the Hardeners running full time if we were more dependent on a micro warp drive. Obviously, a micro warp drive can reduce the amount of capacity you've got anyway, so I usually use the restrained ones. Maybe I'll try that next time, but here we are. So let's head into the next room. Now, the mission guide does say that the frigates in here have got warp disruptors and webs. The last couple of times I've run this mission, I've noticed the webs on me slowing me down, but not the warp disruptors. Obviously, if the rats do get a warp disruption on you, then your micro warp drive isn't going to work and your micro jump drive won't fire. So certainly if you're worried about that, Afterburner is the most guaranteed way of being able to pull range here, which we do need to do because the damage comes in fast. We're going to get the drones out to take down those frigates. One of the rats is trying to ECM us, but it's not actually working. Now remember, even if the ECM from the rats does work, you can still kill the one that's jamming you, so just go ahead and do that. I'm overheating my resistance modules, as you can see. You need to train up your thermodynamic skill to mitigate how quickly they overheat. My intention here is to stay on grid until I've killed all these frigates. Then I can come back, put my medium drones out. It'll be a little bit more relaxed. I won't have to worry about being pointed. Because obviously if we are getting a battering, the last thing we need is to not be able to leave grid. We want to be able to leave grid at our leisure. Now, overheating your resistance modules, as I am, gets you 20% boost to the resistances you're gaining. And such modules do overheat much slower than stuff like weapons, prop mods. Do pay attention though to how quickly stuff around them is overheating. but this is the easiest form of overheating there is to manage, simply because it is the slowest. With guns, especially if you haven't got brilliant thermodynamic skills, you really have to keep an eye on them and cut them off when you get to about 80% damage, unless you're willing to risk them running out. But here we're just chilling out. We're obviously running low on shield, we're still overheating our resistances. The frigates are almost all gone. The missiles obviously have been working on the cruisers, and if it's the closest thing a battleship, because there's no point in putting the drones on them, and there's not a huge amount of point on firing range missiles at frigates, although they will kill them. It's not the best use of them, certainly not in this situation. So we are getting some of the bigger rats down as we're clearing all the frigates, and it looks like they're running out of frigates around the same time as we're running out of shields. So I'm going to align out to the station, do that as soon as possible, do that as early as you can, be aligned out. You don't want to hit the warp 2 button when you want to get out. And we're off. We're going to go and repair. We'll come back and finish off the room. But first, we have a choice of skins today for the giveaway. I still have some Ferox skins left, so let me know in your comment which skin you'd like. Would you like a Ferox skin? Let me know. Remember to leave your in-game name in the comment, of course. And your comment could be anything, really. Anything about the game. As long as it's interesting and it's not rude, you've got a chance of winning a skin. And if you want the Ferox skin, let me know in the comment. The second option, and technically this month's creator skin, is this one right here, the Hecate, the Hecate, if you want to say it like that. I really don't mind. I prefer Hecate myself. Yeah, so let me know, would you like the Ferox skin or would you like the Hecate skin? On screen now, you'll see the names of the winners of the Ferox skins from the last video. It's nearly time for shutdown, so I'll go and make a cup of coffee, but the rest of the narration is from the recorded footage. So let me know, Ferox skin or Hecate skin. Remember to leave your in-game name in your comment for a chance to win. So here we are, just getting ready to go back into the second room again. We did lose one Hornet in that first room, I forgot to mention that. We've still got 5 Vespers. The frigates are all down in the next room, so we can put the Vespers out. I haven't mentioned the target painter, but do remember to paint stuff with it. I usually put it on whatever the drones are going after, just to give them a bit of a helping hand, because as you will see, they do need all they can get. The target painter will also draw rat aggro to you, so if your drones are out but you can't shoot them with your missiles because you're out of range, stick the painter on a rat, and it might get the aggro back on you if your drones are starting to get a little bit beaten up. So we're in reasonably close again, so we can start locking up and shooting straight away. I'm not going to re-overheat the hardeners at this stage. I'm going to save that for the last room, because my intention now is to try to get through the rest of the site and just have that one little pit stop along the way. As you can see, we're now being jammed by that rat battleship. The drones will carry on doing whatever it is they're doing. We just need to take down this drone battleship that is jamming us, and then get on with sorting out his mates. There you go. Again, this is at about 2.5 times speed, but we're taking these down much quicker than you would from 100 kilometers away with cruise missiles or sentry drones, I can assure you. And I'm now feeling relaxed enough to take some screenshots, which is always a good sign, as those of you that know me will know. Do note that the drones, with the target painter assisting them, are not breaking the tank of that cruiser. I actually found that even the bonus medium drones on the Dominics had trouble breaking the tank of these cruisers in this room. So just, yeah, that's how secondary they are. Once you've got rid of the frigates, the drones are just a real secondary, add a bit of DPS on. So we'll send a few rage missiles his way, and there you go, there goes his shield. He's going down very quickly. So pretty much from now on in the rest of this mission, I just leave the drones to back up whatever the missiles are hitting as appropriate. Not forgetting to always take out the frigates and destroyers if there are some on grid first. And of course it's reassuring to know that these missiles will rip through cruisers. The target painter helps a little bit, but yeah, rage missiles, they apply pretty well, to be honest with you. Certainly with the amount of damage they're putting up, even if you're only hitting a cruiser with 50% of their damage, that's a lot of damage for a cruiser to take. And in fact, having seen how well they do apply here, I just leave the rage. I don't even think about switching to any other ammo till much later in the run, when I think I actually run out right at the end, but that's okay. The incoming DPS is dropping off, A, because there are less rats shooting at us, and B, because we're a little bit more able to control the range properly. We can stay out at our maximum range. It's still only 44 kilometers, so it's not like being 100 kilometers away where you cannot be touched, for sure. But it's certainly not a worry now. And in fact, the shield regen is starting to kick in. We haven't got a lot of boost on the regen, but as you can see now, we're basically tanking the damage. And as we get further and further into the site, we will be regenning the shield up quite nicely, ready to go into the last room. And I'm hoping, in fact I'm pretty confident, we should be able to make it through now without having to redock. That one pit stop, which only took a couple of minutes, and we are killing these rats, as I said, much quicker than we did in the Dominic's when I did this mission only 2 or 3 days before. In fact, yeah, my mission rotation has been awful lately. How have you guys been finding it? I had unauthorized military presence, then worlds collide, then unauthorized military presence, then worlds collide. There were a couple of burner missions kind of splitting those duos up. And then previous to that, I was getting 3 or 4 of the same sort of lower, easier missions. Just cycling around and around. Have you found the rotation a bit odd lately? Let me know down below. Obviously, knowing the mission quite well will allow you to tailor your ship and your fit to it very well. As I said, this might be one for a micro jump drive. If you've never given those a go, it would work quite well here. And it obviously helps that in the, 12 odd years I've been playing Eve now, these are still the same missions. So I do know them quite well. I always check the Eve University site, as I repeatedly tell you, and as you saw very briefly there, just in case anything's changed. A little bit of it may be out of date, but it's better to have some info rather than none. And although I know some of the main missions pretty well, in fact the next one I've got up in the rotation after this, which I may record, let me know if you'd be interested to see it. And maybe actually, yeah, it's Angel's Extravaganza, which is kind of the mission. Or I think it is, if my finger is on the pulse, so let me know. What ship would you like me to do that one in? I could do the Raven with cruise missiles or with these rapid heavies, although I think that might be a bit much for it. We could try the Dominic's with its drone selection. Navy issue Drake might be a bit of a laugh. Let me know in a comment down below. Would you like to see a vid of that mission? Anyway, I've almost let my shields fully recharge, but we're now in the final room. We land right in amongst this group of rats here. So we need to get the Afterburner running, the Hardener's hardening and overheating straight away pretty much. I'm using the missiles on the battleship that's close by. I'm using the drones on a battle cruiser right now. I shall think about it a little bit more carefully once we've pulled a little bit of range. I'm going to start on the destroyers with the drones, because they can hit your drones very hard if you let them get on them. What I'm trying to do here, if you notice the battleship, I'm trying to not waste missiles. I'm not very good at it right now. You fire missiles so quickly in this ship that you do need to cut off the cycles before the ship's dead, because there's going to be a couple of flights of missiles in the air potentially. So I was trying to kind of min-max it a little bit, which is why sometimes I'll switch the missiles off a ship like here, left the drones on to try and finish him off, and then he reps and I have to put the missiles back on him. But if you get used to that rate of fire and when to shut off the launcher, then you can potentially save yourself a reload or two during the running of a site or a mission. I've stopped overheating. The hardeners are overheated just over 50%. I think that'll be enough. I've left that 50% obviously in reserve in case things get a little bit on top again. But I'm not expecting anything too nasty to happen. I feel completely in control now, which is exactly the way it should be. We're gradually working our way through our capacitor, so I am going to just switch off the afterburner for a little while now, reserving the right to switch it back on. I don't think the speed drop is going to result in any overwhelming damage coming our way, and we're in control kind of range wise now, so that seems to be a sensible way forward. Switch the afterburner off for a little while, recharge a little bit more capacitor. If necessary, as with the overheating, you can just fire it up again, can't you, if you need to pull range again, etc. Or you are finding that you're getting a lot more damage because they're hitting you better. Although as long as you keep flying back and forth across in front of them, again, as I've said, never approach anything, especially a battleship. In a battleship you will take a lot of damage. Yeah, just fly back and forth in front of them, maintaining a maximum traversal is the best you can do. So as you can see, all the fire at me is coming in from the side there. You can see it quite clearly. Minimising the damage we're taking through either them missing or not getting very good hits on us. Obviously we're a battleship, we're not exactly the hardest target in the game. Anything smaller than a battleship, in my thinking, is going to have no trouble hitting us anyway if we're in range. I do run out of rage ammo just before the sight finishes, and just finish it off with the regular Scourge ammo. There's no problem taking down the tank of the battleships with that regular ammo, so be reassured of that. I just found it easier there with the reloads, obviously, as well as a big factor, just to leave the rage in and let the painter do its little bit of magic to get them applying damage to whatever we're shooting with them. I'm now actually approaching the damaged Heron. That contains the ship's crew we're here to rescue. It's already been unlocked for a while, I'm quite sure. I didn't check exactly what the trigger ship was, so look on the Eve Uni website to see that. But you know me, I like to clear everything just to see if the ship can. I'm not going to go back round and clear the Serpentis rooms though, because that just seems a little bit overkill. But there you are, my friends. We have done Worlds Collide with this little Raven here. A nice simple fit. It's much quicker. It probably took me about 65% of the time it took me in the Dominics to clear the site in this Raven, just because of the higher DPS. So job done. We had our little pit stop, but so what? That's all part of the deal. And taking a little bit of damage like that, getting a little bit hectic, having to overheat your modules, judge when to get out, when to pre-align. It's all developing your playing skills. Sitting out 100 kilometers away in kind of easy mode isn't going to develop you as a pilot. Getting stuck in is how you're going to learn in this quite cheap Raven how to do it in the more effective ships. I do have a rattlesnake and I'm training into a golem, so we might give those a crack and see how much quicker they really are for all that extra ISK it costs to build them and all the time it can take to train into them, certainly in the case of the Tech 2 ships. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know down below. Leave it a like if you have liked it, found it entertaining or useful. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch. Leave those comments with your in-game name and which skin you would like. For now, take care of yourselves and each other. Remember, even is believing. Fly brave. And for now, my friends, goodbye.